Hey everybody, and welcome back to Morgellons discussion and microscopy videos. Uh, I just got up a little while ago, and I'm going to go right back to sleep in just a little bit here, hopefully. Okay, so is Morgellons a disease or a condition? Technically, Morgellons is not a disease. It's a skin condition. And so let me explain that, okay? You have to really understand what the science has already been able to demonstrate about Morgellons, and there's a lot of science that demonstrates about what Morgellons is and what it isn't. So the best we can tell is that Lyme is the disease. All right. Lyme is multisystemic, which means it'll get inside every organ in the body. It'll even drill inside the bones. But we don't have any evidence that when it gets inside bones, it causes Morgellons fibers. And that is because bones typically are not comprised of epithelial cells. What do epithelial cells do? They make skin. And so when the Lyme gets in the skin cells, then it can make the Morgellons condition. That's how that works. The cells that make skin and hair get infected with the Lyme disease bacteria, and when they do, they start making too much of the stuff that they usually make to make your skin and hair. They make too much collagen and keratin. And they make it in a manner that's not consistent with how they were programmed to make it. So you have a condition. That condition can be resolved when you address the disease, the underlying disease, which is the Lyme disease. Your Morgellons condition can resolve and your sores can heal if you start taking agents which would eliminate the disease in your body, which is the Lyme infection. So that's what Morgellons is, and that's how it works. Like I said, there's a lot of research out there that shows what Morgellons is. There's a lot of research, including that shows what Morgellons is not, and you really you really need to take some time to read through that, uh, because it answers a lot of questions. The problem with Morgellons, the controversy, why people can't get help in 2021 isn't because of the CDC or the IDSA or anything like that. The problem is with people being educated. Because you can go to a doctor today, even a normal doctor today, and you can get treated for Morgellons if that's what you have. The real problem is that there are still thousands of people who mistakenly believe they have Morgellons, who cannot be convinced otherwise. And when you don't have Morgellons, and you can't be convinced that you don't have Morgellons, like if a doctor gets a microscope and really looks in your skin and says, man, I can't find any fibers. Can you find them? And if you can't find them, but you still think you have Morgellons or believe you have Morgellons, that's a delusional state. Okay, and that's who I believe doctors see the most of, are these patients who come in, they don't have Morgellons, they believe they have Morgellons, and then they get belligerent with the doctor about it. But even if you have Morgellons, your real concern should be the Lyme disease, because even though it may not make Morgellons in your heart, it can make your heart stop working. And the same is true with your brain and any other organ it can get inside of. That Lyme disease is nasty. And what we're finding is that it may actually be an STD. Lyme may be a sexually transmissible disease or infection. But you got to know that. You got to be aware that this is how Morgellons works. Just because a person has sores doesn't mean that they have Morgellons. Because fungal infections can cause sores, but they're not going to cause Morgellons because fungus doesn't get inside skin cells like Lyme disease gets inside skin cells and cause them to produce these fibers. And in patients with the Morgellons condition, every sample that's been studied has tested negative for any kind of pathogenic fungus. It's just not there. So you really got to know what Morgellons is and what it isn't, and all that information is freely available. Yes, there are patients going in that actually have Morgellons and who are being mistreated by doctors. But that's a problem with education as well. And probably the patient didn't help to not exacerbate the situation with their behavior. And I know it's hard to behave well when you're not getting the treatment that you need and you know something's really wrong. And if you have Morgellons, there is something really wrong that needs to be addressed because it can be fatal. It's not contagious, but if you have Morgellons, then you have Lyme disease, and that Lyme disease can kill you. The doctor's just not being educated. And if you can behave well when you go to see the doctor, you have the potential to educate them if you're aware about what the facts are. But if neither of you are aware of what the facts are, then that can be a bad situation for both of y'all. But you don't have to go through that. Because right now, today, you can go see a doctor who understands Lyme disease and who understands that there is a volume of research that shows Morgellons is associated with Lyme disease. You can get on antibiotics and you can get the condition to resolve. It's probably going to be a lot harder if you've been going through it your whole life, but there is hope on the horizon. There are new treatment therapies that are becoming approved every day. So, best thing you can do if you're worried about Morgellons is, number one, get a microscope. Spend $20 on Amazon, get a USB microscope, go over your skin, put some videos up on YouTube and Facebook so people know that it's legit. It's got to be shown, if you're going to do that the fibers are embedded in the skin tissue, and that has to be obvious. Okay? Because, yeah, textile fibers do sometimes get stuck in sores. That happens. But if every sore on your body has these strange flat ribbons poking out around the edges, then that's Morgellons, and that'll become apparent. But you have to have the evidence of it. And the second thing you should do is you should seek out a Lyme literate physician. I recommend the functional medicine to practice because I like how they practice medicine. I've never, every time I've gone to see a doctor about my skin over decades, it's typically been the same result: steroids and a short course of antibiotics. But you need a more involved approach than that. You can't do the fast food medicine way out of Morgellons. That's just not going to happen. Because Morgellons is associated with a vicious disease that we don't know nearly enough about. But what we do know is that it can be treated, and in most people it can be resolved fairly easily. But if it's caught in time, if it's allowed to persist for too long, then it's going to be a lot harder to dig out of the body once it gets thoroughly embedded in there. I hope I've answered your question. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. I'll do my best to direct you to what the research says about your query. If you like these videos, please share them out with your friends and make a difference. We are making a difference with raising awareness about what the research says. And I also want to call attention to this huge list of petitions that I found online looking for Morgellons petitions. There was one of them I had no idea about. It's got like 600,000 signatures, sending a letter to the president and the senators and House representatives about the Morgellons condition specifically. Just blew me away to see there were 600,000 people that signed this thing. And that's why we were able to make a video yesterday about a dermatology advisor coming on board and saying, hey, Morgellons is a real condition. That's why Morgellons is being legitimized in real time. That's why researchers are having a hard time finding specimens, Morgellons specimens to study, because more patients are going to get treatment and getting the condition resolved. So if you like this video, share it out with your friends so people know what Morgellons is. And leave a comment down below. Let's drum up some conversation about what's really going on with Morgellons, and let's dispel the myths about what is not going on with Morgellons. We hear too much of that, and that is really at the heart of the controversy. All right, take care. We'll see you guys soon. Check this guy out. I got the Yeah, that's right. Bye.